question 4, page 3. Many of you did it the way you're supposed to have done it. You found the value of the ratio. How many did it? How many did do it value of the ratio this way? Okay, great. Here's where the dilemma was, though, and this is why this was different from the review sheet on this. You had to kind of really think through this. All 3 players had 1 goal scored. So you had to say to yourself, okay, then which player was able to score that 1 goal with the least amount of shots taken? Because if I am player A and I scored my goal with only taking 3 shots, then I'm better at scoring goals than, let's say, player B, who also scored 1 goal, but it took him or her 5 shots to score that 1 goal. So the person or player that is most effective, the best player, would have to be player A, because they scored that 1 goal in the least amount of shots taken. And that's where the mistake was. Many of you, when you got down to the bottom, you reversed this. So you got to kind of think through it. If you're shooting goals, you want to be able to score a goal and take the least amount of shots to score that 1 goal. So it was a thinking question, and a lot of you, when you got down to this part, you had this reversed. Then, to get full credit in your explanation, you not only had to explain that you found the value of the ratio, but you had to take it a step further and make the realization that the player that's most effective is the player that scored his or her 1 goal in the least amount of shots taken. You had to make that perfectly clear in this answer in order to get full credit. If all you said was you found the value of the ratio, I took off 2 points. All right? The other one I want to go over with you is the coordinate plane question. Go to the page with the coordinate plane. Page 5. Is it, whatever page this is. I always want you guys to read directions. Be very careful, and every time you hand something in, read the directions again and make sure you did everything that you were supposed to do. You had to label your axes, and you had to put a title. So if you didn't do that, you lost 6 points, and that's a lot to give up. I call them silly points. They're nonsense points to lose, because it's just a matter of following directions and making sure you have your title. This is what I mean by a label. What do these numbers along the y-axis represent? Distance in miles. And then my y-axis numbers are representing my time in hours. So you had to do that to get those 6 points. Next thing that I saw is some of you reversed distance and put distance here and time here. Time always goes on the bottom. It's always along your x-axis. So just remember that. And then finally, you had to count, in order to spread everything out as big as you can possibly make it. Every 3rd box counts as an hour going across for hours, and every 3rd box going up is your distance in miles counting by 6s. If it was too scrunched together, I took off points. You had to figure out, okay, this is called the interval. How many boxes am I going to count by? And it should have been every 3 boxes is your ratio. 1 to 6, 2 to 12, and so forth. Okay? If there's those are the only questions I want to go over. Everything else was okay. But if you got something wrong and you're not sure why you got it wrong, let's make it some time next week and we'll go over it. We'll do it next week, okay? The rest of the period is for you to get as much done in lesson 20 as possible. I have all the keys hanging up. Every time you're done with a question, I want you to check, and I'll start Ball Orchard.
I go get my
Did everyone